Yeah, that's pretty cool.
What?
I can move around so you're not out of the picture.
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Professionalism versus desire.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, we are live.
All right. Thank you, Tiffany.
You're welcome.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julie Brownlee, Principal Assessor for the town of Northborough, Massachusetts. This open meeting of the Northborough Board of Assessors is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of June 16, 2021, an act relating to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the Board of Assessors are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the Board of Assessors to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the agenda posted on the town's website. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. So we'll do the roll call vote. Board of Assessors members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bruce Morgan.
Aye, here, whatever.
Christopher Reedy.
Here also.
Julie Brownlee here. And Assessors Department staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Tiffany Peters, Assessor Assistant.
Here.
Brian Fernandez, Assessor Data Collector. Thank you. Okay. So the first item on the list is to review and vote on the minutes of November 2nd, 2021. Does anyone have any comments?
No,
None here.
Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the minutes of November 2nd, 2021 as
That's it. So moved.
second.
all in favor. Bruce,
Aye,
Chris,
Aye.
Julie, I. Thank you. Then we have motor vehicle abatements. On November 5th, we had 5 abatements that totaled $775.01. And on November 12th, we had 12 abatements totaling $884.40. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve these abatements as submitted.
So moved.
second.
All in favor. Bruce,
Aye,
Chris,
Aye.
Julie, I. Okay. So the biggest item to talk about is each year this board has made a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen on taxing options. They include taxing options to shift the tax burden. So they include having a split tax rate, having a residential exemption, and or having small commercial exemptions. Traditionally, this board has chosen not to have any of those 3 things. And I would like to just give you a few facts. I'm assembling them for Monday night when I'll present them in totality to the Board of Assessors. So the first one is about the split rate tax scenario. If we continue as Northborough has since, oh gosh, I think 1979, to have a single tax rate, then the tax rate that the Finance Department is proposing is $16.49 per $1,000 of value. That would yield tax bill for a single family home around $8,200 for the average assessed value, single family home of about $8,200, for the average condominium about $5,500. Commercial properties, the average tax bill would be $28,000, and average industrial properties would be over 72,000. If we shift it by 5%, that instead of a single rate of 1649, we would lower the residential tax rate and raise the commercial industrial. The lowered single family home, if I've calculated, if we shifted at 5%, would be $15.67. So about approximately 80 cents less. And the average single family house would save $400. The average condominium would save about $280. Average commercial properties tax bill would rise by $3,800, and average industrial tax bill would rise $9,900. Both of you, Bruce and Chris, understand all the implications for splitting a tax rate or leaving it single. And so at this point in time, and if I don't think we need any discussion on those aspects of it. I hadn't thought about how to phrase this. So I'd like to vote on recommending either to recommend that we keep a single tax rate for the town of Northborough.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Bruce,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Julie, aye. The second scenario we need to consider is the residential exemption. As you know, this is an exemption for that helps lower value residential properties and shifts the burden away from the lowest residential properties onto the higher residential properties. It does not change the commercial or industrial tax rate. It only changes the residential tax rate. So the commercial industrial would remain at $16.49. If we gave an exemption of 10%, well, never mind, I'm sorry. If we gave a 10% exemption, then for example, a house that was valued, the average in Northborough for fiscal 22, the average home value is $496,961. So just under 500,000. If we gave a residential exemption of 10%, then a house that was valued, for example, at $350,000 would save $240. A house that was valued at $650,000 would pay extra $290. The break-even point where you wouldn't get a tax break and you wouldn't pay more taxes would be $487,070. I would like to entertain a motion to recommend that we do not have a residential exemption.
So moved.
Second.
I would like to have a little comment.
Absolutely.
In that generally the residential exemption is in resort communities or capes, waterfront communities where there's a significant population of second homes. And that's, Boston being one of the exceptions, but for other cities and towns too. And it's a factor to make it a little easier for people, like you say, having the lower value properties gives them a break. I don't see that there's a significant amount of second homes in town here. And that's one reason why we didn't follow through with that in Shrewsbury.
It's about even between communities that are heavily second home resort areas and high apartment percentages. So
Right.
there are several like, Somerville and it's all within 128. There's a half a dozen or so that are heavy apartment communities. So it's about there's about 15 communities in the state that have it. It's about half and half.
Okay, yes, because
Roughly.
one thing I didn't say is that to be eligible for residential exemption, it's not just the lowest value properties, but also they have to be owner occupied. So that goes to both the resort and to the apartment buildings.
Okay, I'm done.
Any other discussion? Then I would like to propose that we do not adopt, that we recommend that the residential exemption is not adopted by the town of Northborough for fiscal 22.
Did we just do that a couple minutes ago?
Yeah, we actually should just vote now.
Okay,
Then Chris wanted to add his commentary after the fact. But it's already
Okay.
voted.
so it's already moved and seconded.
Yep.
So all in favor, Bruce?
Do we do that part too, Tiffany? Like, I'm already forgetting now. It was just a motion, but we didn't vote.
Correct.
Chris interjected before the vote. Okay. True? Yeah.
I
We can
have
vote
all in,
again.
I have all in favor written down.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter. We can do it a second time. It's 2 is better than 0.
Right.
Okay, all in favor, Bruce,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Julie, aye. The last, so the last thing that we need to talk about is whether we'd like to recommend having or not having a small commercial exemption. As you know, commercial exemption is possible for the town to have for properties, for commercial properties that are under $1 million in value and which have an average of not more than 10 employees. If we adopted it, the taxes that they would not pay, the lower taxes they would pay would mean that that tax burden would be shifted to other commercial and industrial properties that didn't meet the qualifications. So because this town has, this office, excuse me, the Board of Assessors, we 3 are new as of last year, but this Board of Assessors for years has recommended that we do not adopt this, partly for the fact of that the exemption is for a property owner and not necessarily for the small businesses that are on the property. So I would like to entertain a motion that we recommend to not adopt the small commercial exemption.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Bruce,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Julie, aye. Thank you. I'd like to move to executive session now. Pertinent to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 7. To comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 60, requiring confidentiality. At the conclusion of the executive session, the board will adjourn. So I'd entertain a motion to enter executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Bruce,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Julie, aye.
Okay, I'll let you know when we're all set.
Thank you.
All right. I need a drink of water. I'll be right back.